And this, I mean, the term aggressiveness is always a bit of a subjective one, so actually this is a little bit better their description of it because it's more operationalised in terms of saying what it means. And it's, you know, partly what you're looking at in the main is the number of clean blows that's landed, Muay Thai techniques that are landed with accuracy and power. And that doesn't matter whether you're moving backwards, sideways or against the ropes. In other words, you haven't got to be moving forwards to win. You can win moving backwards as long as you score it effectively. You don't have to always walk forwards. It's not necessarily the deciding factor. Ring generalship, so controlling the action. Again, quite subjective. This is probably less subjective. And then last is just what we might call aggressiveness, is just trying to force the action, is a more minor aspect of the fight. So what we've got really there from the 70% thing is two things really. One, that you're landing accurately, and so there's different targets actually that tended to be favoured, we'll look in a minute, but also then effect. And that can be, the effect can be two real things. One, that you disturb the opponent's physical balance, physically including, that they can't perform properly because they're not on balance. Or psychologically, in other words, they show pain or fear, they turn away, or they show in hit. And they're things that the judges will look for. They don't feel the techniques, but they try and assess by a series of cues. Now, it's important, therefore, to not to do these things if you're trying not to get scored on. So you try not to show pain, try not to show you're so tired you can't keep position. You're actually, it doesn't matter being tired, everybody's tired, it's just that what you show in the ring, it isn't good if you are going to be showing it to your judges, or you're showing you frightened, or you're showing pain. You need to make sure that you show you're strong, not losing position easy and not showing frightened. They're quite key things. So they're making a judgment of various things, like, for example, techniques are easily seen generally score well, so a clean kick to the body, clean knee to the body, punch and elbow that cause the opponent to move or show pain. They're clear scoring techniques. We'll have a look at some of the other things that tend to be not as clear cut, maybe, but that are in the spirit of the sport, but maybe not necessarily a specific technique that moves a fighter. So you've got a range of things really. You've got the quality of techniques, so that cause visual effect, that cause the opponent to feign. You know, you might cleanly kick somewhere, and you also there's a trade-off between that and effect. So sometimes clean hitting the target on the body is a good scoring if you don't move the fighter. So it's not always about did you move the fighter in, and it's not always did you move the fighter in. Maybe the fighter's off balance, and this is really important for you as a fighter because where you focus when you're delivering a technique, it becomes important if you're kicked and you're actually off balance and you move, it's a bigger score. So landing on balance becomes really key. And one of the differences between the Thais at the time I looked at and the UK lads was not particularly balanced before delivery, that was okay, it was balance after delivery, they were much less balanced. In other words, they fell back a little bit, or they weren't so controlled as they fell back. And if then they were hit, they were moved quite a bit, even if there was no power in the shot, relatively not. Whereas if they're really solid position, it's much more difficult to move. So balancing between techniques becomes really important in not getting scored upon, just as much as not showing frightened or any pain when you do it. There's different styles of fighters. Just to illustrate two different styles of fighters, these are two very famous fighters, older fighters now, but one's moving backwards and winning, and one's moving forwards and winning. So red boxer in both. Virapol first, so we'll have a look against Sukhothai Taximeter from Sasipaga Gym at the time. So we got the boxer moving backwards, who's also WBC boxing champion. Is the boxer in control? Now he's position strong, he's moving backwards the whole fight. You could even argue potentially that Sukhothai is even busier, but he's not winning. He loses the fight and he's off balance and the fight's controlled. So not only is he scoring well, but he's also controlling the action. He's actually controlling the fight, the boxer in the red shorts, Virapol. And he's when he hits, he's causing effect, and he's keeping balance, and he's moving back, and he's not losing position when he's getting hit, or at least mostly he's not losing position. And it's a global thing, it's a holistic picture rather than an individual shot. So he's controlling the fight. Now we've got an attacking boxer here. This is Sanchur Narapai, again in the red shorts. So he's moving forward. Again, at the time, former boxer of the year a long time ago. He's probably about getting on to 50 now. sunshine. But this time you notice there he's just sort of getting kicked, but you notice in a minute when his opponent's moving back, he gets kicked, he's moving, he's not moving back in position. When he's kicked, he's actually losing position. Sometimes he's managing to block, but often when like there, he's actually not in a solid position, he's not moving back in the stance and able to kick. There, even more so, bigger effect. So in fact, this time the boxer's coming forward, but he's actually causing much more effect. The boxer's going backwards, not able to maintain position, and so losing. So it's not always that, as it was on that slide, it's not always whether you come forward or backwards, but controlling position and balance is important. And obviously, neither of these are all professionals. They're not showing the hurt, even if they are. They're not showing the frightened. Time. Their balance on delivery, the times were far better at. There's still quite a bit balance on delivery by the UK lads, but a balance after delivery is where a lot of the times the UK lads are much less, the ties are off balance. And these were the winners of the fights, so I only took the winners of those fights, so it would be the ones who win. So, in a sense, this again, just to say, footwork's very important. Just a little example, this again, a long time ago. Pinsin Chai camp, this is Thailand, Pinsin Chai, Burger, Pinsin Chai, Jim, good friend really, Thailand. These are just showing that balance is important, yeah, balance, position is important. Doesn't mean you can't move quickly, but its position's important. Now, besides these actual, does the shot hit, there are other things that the judges look for to see who's the stronger boxer. And so things like, if a boxer can't get thrown down when the leg's caught, one, the leg kick lands, so that's scored. They catch over and they can't kick their opponent down. It means they're not as strong as the opponent in the jury's eyes in that exchange. So the one thing that used to happen with Dutch fighters a long time ago, I just actually showed some fights between some very good fighters, very good Dutch fighters, and some legendary Thai fighters at the time. The difference between the fighters often is when they got the leg caught, the Dutch fighters are really almost deliberately dropping on the floor not to get hit. And that's actually a foul. You try and stand up and you try and, if you can, stay strong and show that you're not giving up and not dropping on the floor and sort of turning your back.
Yeah. So if you catch someone's kick but you do something other than try and sweep their leg, like hit them in the face,
you've got to score them. So if you're just not doing anything,
yeah,
it's not really, in other words, you've got to be doing something better than that single kick to the body.
Yeah, so the catch itself doesn't get...
The catch itself doesn't get scored. So what you do afterwards does. Yeah, what you do afterwards does really. So getting your head pulled down, for example, is another example of, if you're in the fight and you're getting your head pulled down, you can't stop it. That's already concerning the fight. You can't defend against that. You're not strong enough to defend against it. And there are many techniques to stop getting your head pulled down. And a boxer who gets so tired they can no longer keep position. So famous fight really between Samar Pak, who's a brilliant boxer, and I'm trying to think he was at bloody fought Damien Trainer one time after one channel they fought, and Samar was winning quite clearly to start with, but then whether he was gassed because he'd cut weight, I don't know, he gassed and he was really getting moved, and so the fight swung completely round. Within a couple of rounds, where Samar was quite far ahead, it switched round because he was just losing position, and that throws the fight away in essence. If you can't, it's not necessarily being tired physically, but it's being showing you tired by not being able to keep position in a sense. These are some clips, some clips of demonstrations of, just some clips I've put together, not necessarily the only things, but just some examples to sort of show you what they might be. Let's start again. So this is an example of not going down when you caught. So it's like, it's Thailand Pinsin Chai for fight, Olympian title actually, and his opponent can't kick him over, and he can't do anything that's, in other words, he's showing that dominant that he's not going over. He's showing his dominance in that exchange. So it's not necessarily, he's had to sort of, okay, I'm not going to carry on. Turning the back, unable to defend yourself. So this again was two Japanese and a South African boxer getting kneed. The referee's moving in and breaking afterwards, but he's got turn and he's cleanly getting kneed on the back quite cleanly, and he's showing that he can't defend himself, really. He's just sort of, not necessarily deliberately giving his back, but he's, you know, he's not losing position, the well congued on. So he's lost position, the kick, so he's kicking, throws a punch off balancing, which is fine. Sort of manages to block and not lose position, punches, off balances him, and then finishes with a kick which off balances him even more. So that's a good score. Dean Jones, lad from our gym, fighting an Italian lad recently. But again, the Italian lad's losing position. He's not able to maintain his position. Again, another lad, from our gym. So we've got quite a few clips from lads from our gym. So again, in a sense, the lad in the pink shorts is not able to, in the end, maintain position. He's moving, so he's getting moved on the. And this is Liam Harrison moving his opponent with a body kick again. So this is a case of boxers demonstrating his strong. You know, sometimes you as a judge, obviously, for these things. Often you don't see them if you're not used to looking at them until they're in slow motion. But and again, this is punches where Jordan's getting knocked back. Jordan's getting knocked back with punches. And obviously they've got to land, but they are landing and he's getting moved. You know, so he's losing position. Again, this is getting thrown by showing. Again, he can't stop being thrown. He can't stop. He can't control his position enough, so he's getting thrown. These are some examples of techniques. This is a young Anawat hitting what you would try with a right cross. A long time ago demonstration. So he's moving the boxer with a punch. So the boxer moves his opponent with a clean shot. So you've got, I think this is maybe late 90s. It's demonstrating scoring. So he's moving his opponent. Not really moving your opponent, no effect, no real score. Unless, of course, you're obviously judging. If that's all you're doing, then that's going to be the case. This is a punch score, so it's Andy Thrasher demonstrating on Dean James, and he's obviously simulating it, but he's getting affected by the shot. He's getting moved back by the shot. So it's only actually it's obviously a bit of an act, and it's not quite as good as a real strong score. Round kick to the body. This time, obviously, he doesn't have to move the fighter, so he can kick and just land on target. What's really hard, even though it doesn't look hard, that's the thing, body kicks do something. So it's body kick cleanly on target, good score. Example here, we've got the blue boxer scoring, good score with the body kick, just to explain a good score with that. So it's a clean score, the boxer even moved this way, so it's a clean score. If he steps, it's not the same as if you get moved. If you step and take a shot.
So Tony, I don't know if you agree. What about kicking the arms?
Kicking arm scores as well. It's not as clean as it's not as good a score as here, but if you move them, it's the same as getting not moved here. So if a boxer kicks your arms here and you're moved, it's really the same as getting
blocking as well.
Say again?
That's even more blocking as well. So
it's not what you don't want to do.
Is kick the arm.
It depends where you're blocking. If you're, in other words, it depends. This is where you hold your guard's quite important, because if you, I mean, sometimes it's better to get kicked on the arm. You know, you might want to get kicked on the arm to kick your opponent back. Your opponent's very fast, you can't block, and they're not particularly that strong kicker. You might want to take it on your arm to kick them and move them, because if you don't move and they do, you're winning. So it's not always, it's not always as clear cut as you want. But if you block where your arm's not on your body, no score. On your body, score. So it's here, it's no score. Strong position, no score. Yeah. So in other words, I used to box. So we took the arms in. But in Muay Thai, that's not so great because you can get scored on. I mean, it's better than getting it here, but it's not still as great as not, being able to block and not getting kicked. So keeping a position and blocking without allowing your arm to move is a way not to get scored upon. So you can get scored upon getting hit on your arms and moved, particularly moved. So it's about not losing position when you get hit on the arms, really. This is a round kick to the body, scoring against the kick-punch combination. Again, it's only active. But the kicking and punching, might look busier, but does nothing. And the score on the body kicks. So they're doing there's no effect. It might look busy, they're not even hitting the target. The only target they hit is a low kick with no effect. So where a judge has got to look for what's effective, this is not, I'll play that again because it's, so it's like a round kick to the body is going to score, and this is acting, so it's not so great, I know. But you watch, Dean's hitting, punches, low kick, the body scores in that. The fact is it with foot techniques, it's irrelevant to many techniques you use, it's the effect. Techniques. Some people looking puzzled.
No, sorry.
No, that's okay.
So if he'd actually moved him with that combination, then they would have...
If he'd the target and moved him,
Yeah,
it'd be a completely different thing. But he didn't, so that's what the judges are looking for. Now, if he moved him, if he kicked him and he moved his leg, the leg kick, completely different. This is a leg kick score, for example, again, another recent fight. This is... He's losing his position. He lost his position. If he relaxed and kept his position, no problem. He lost his position. He lost control of himself. You can see he's actually lost control of himself. He's not controlling it, riding it, which is a bit like moving with a kick. Moving with a kick is actually caused to move. So, yeah, example. Just another example. Yeah.
So even though he sort of checked it because he came down.
Yeah, because he's not. He didn't cleanly block it. I mean, if he'd have blocked it, no movement. Even if he'd have ridden it to kick back, it's not scored. He did this. He's moved. It's the same as if I get kicked and I'm getting moved like this. It's completely different than if I'm stepping to control the kick. One's little, one's big score, one's not really much of a score. So because the one you're controlling your position, you're able to control yourself and your opponent, not if you're getting kicked. So that's quite important in you.
Totally, because there's questions. So,
Yeah.
for example, if I'm to throw, say, just say 3 body kicks,
Yeah.
it wouldn't really much effect, but then my
It depends if you're clean on target. The judges make an assessment of that. I mean, if you depending on the effect that you've got, and it's not in a sense because they're not clicking. It'll be more things than just that particular action that takes place. So, if otherwise, say you hit with 3 body kicks and they move you with 1, but then they can't touch you, and you can block very solid afterwards, then that wouldn't make it. It's always in the context of everything else, really, rather than it's not the buttons. It's like the Dutch. I mean, I had to judge once from Holland, and it's 10-9, but they look at clickers and then look at them and write them down. I just really couldn't get the hang of it. Because I was tuned into looking for effect, and they were looking at how many shots hit and then looking for a 10-9 score. It was difficult for me to do that. So imagine if you're used to that, it's difficult to do the other thing as well. But it does change quite dramatically what you do. So this is a knee. Now the knee scores well. Straight knee actually better, really, but stronger knee. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration to say just a straight knee. Stronger knee scores better. Generally, straight knees are stronger. But obviously, the judge looks at the holistic thing. They look at whether they are actually stronger. Look at the position. It's taken in a holistic way, not just a not way. But so front kick again, causing the box to lose position. T. Causing the box to lose position. Catching, this is a catching, but this time it's not just doing one thing, it's just to show as well, of course, you can actually keep moving forward. So he's attacking with knees, and so if you catch, it's better off kick him on the floor or attacking with not just one punch, or make sure that you are actually doing something more than they've done to you, which is kick your body, which is a clean kick. Because if you do, it's definitely kick your body cleanly. Elbows, Muay Thai weapon, unique, well, fairly, but not particularly necessarily a special weapon unless it shows effect, and that's either moves them or cuts them.